Hi, I'm George, and this is Dave, and we're here from Acme Guitar Works, and we're going to show you today modern wiring. This is what we call SSS2, and basically on a vintage Stratocaster, when they first came out, you had what Fender considered sort of two rhythm pickups and then a lead pickup. Fender did not put five-way switches in Stratocasters until about 1977. So for the first 20-some years of Strat production, they only came with three-way switches. And Fender's position was you had three tones, and you had two rhythm tones, and then a lead tone, and the two rhythm tones could be preset with the two tone controls. So that's why Strats have two tone controls. So you've got a volume control, you've got a tone control for the neck pickup, and you had a tone control for the middle pickup, no tone control on the bridge pickup. And I've heard it said or suggested by some people that the reason that Fender also used during that time, those early years, a really heavy capacitor on the tone controls was because some bands would travel without a bass player, and that way the guitar player could sort of do some bass lines and things behind, like an orchestra, like, you know, Bob Wilson, the Texas Playboys, or one of the Western swing bands, you know, that kind of music in the early 50s, mid-50s. A lot of people find the two-tone control thing to sort of be unusual, given that it's not two volumes and two tones with two pickups like a Gibson guitar typically is. But that's the reason behind it, and actually that thinking of having preset rhythm settings that you could switch between, and then you could go straight to a lead tone. That was sort of prevalent in early Fender wiring. You can see it in the Esquire, you can see it in the early Telecaster stuff, the Blackguards. You can see it in the Stratocaster and other guitars as well from Fender. In more modern Strats, Fender has added the bridge pickup to the second tone control. And you know, a lot of people think that the bridge pickup on a Strat is sort of its Achilles heel, that it's too bright. And if any pickup on a Strat needs to have a tone control so you can kind of tame that high end, it should be the bridge pickup. And that's the one, of course, that Fender didn't give you originally. Well, that's changed. When Fender came out with the American Standard guitars in the mid-'80s, they added the bridge pickup to the bottom tone control. So now you've got a master volume, you've got a tone control for the neck pickup, and you've got a tone control for the middle and bridge pickups. Also, they went to a much lower value capacitor so that when you roll off the treble, it's not as pronounced. With the vintage style guitars, and this is true of the vintage reissued guitars currently, where they still use that heavy value capacitor. When you roll those tone controls down, it's really pronounced treble roll off, and they'll get really woofy and bassy sounding. And in fact, some players like Danny Gatton would actually use that as sort of a wah-wah effect by rapidly rolling the tone control back and forth. These days on the modern guitars, Fender uses a .022 microfarad capacitor, which is not nearly as pronounced treble roll off, so it's a more subtle, kind of tonal shading. So that's what, when we talk about modern, we're talking really the last 35 years now, 85 or so to date, what you'd find on an American Standard Stratocaster. So now Dave will just show you how the switching options work and demonstrate the tone controls and stuff, so you can hear what those things sound like. Okay, bridge. With it all the way up. Put it down about halfway. All the way down to 0. middle pickup, but also the 2-position. With a normal 5-way switch that you would find in a Strat from Fender, the tone controls also affect the in-between positions because they're kind of tied to the pickup. So if the pickup's on, the tone control is active. For instance, the bottom tone control in this case is tied to both the bridge and middle pickups. If either of those pickups is on, then that tone control is active. So that would be in the 1 position, bridge pickup, the 2 position, bridge middle, the 3 position, the middle, and also the 4 position, the middle neck, because if that middle is on, or if the bridge is on, then the tone control is active.
So here we are in the 2 position, tone all the way up. About 50%. All the way down. Then we'll go up to the middle pickup, which is the same control. All the way up. About halfway. And all the way down. Put a little gain on that. It almost reminds me of that Dire Straits tone. So if you're in this position with neck and middle, both tones would affect it.
That's right. Yeah.
So would they affect it the same way? Meaning if this was at 50% or if this was at 50%?
Yeah, they actually share a common capacitor. So either one does the same, has the same
Okay.
effect.
This is at about 50%. Hear that with a little gain. higher, it's more musical than the vintage value.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with the vintage value that most people find it's just way too much treble roll
Yeah.
off. It's almost unusable except as a special effect almost.
This is very usable. This is very Clapton. And in the neck position, start with it all the way up. About 50%. And all the way down. Do that with a little distortion. Tone opened up, all the way up. All the way down. Up.
Great. So that's it, SSS2. Thanks for watching. Hope you find these videos to be useful.